Rashi, the Torah portion. Welcome to Parshas Acharei and Kedoshim. Heavy duty double portion. Let's get right into it.
What did you read when you read yesterday at Mincha? Did you read
Acharei.
Oh, you read the Acharei, didn't read the
No, well, you only go in order.
the
So.
first one. You didn't read the second.
No.
So that's
Okay.
what I did.
Chapter 16, verse number 1. Okay. Midaber Hashem al Moshe, and Hashem spoke to Moshe after the death. Shnei b'nei Aaron, the two sons of Aaron, B'karvosam, when they came close, Lifnei Hashem, before God, V'yamusa, and they died. So Rashi. Now, of course, what's bothering Rashi over here? It's kind of redundant, right? We know all these facts, and the Torah is repeating it. So we need to understand what's going on in here, right? Rashi. And Hashem spoke to Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aaron, etc. Why is it repeating this and telling us? We know all of this. So Elazar ben Azariah, he gave a metaphor for this to a sick person that a doctor entered to treat him. Amar Lai, and the doctor said to him, Al teichal toine, don't eat cold food. Al tishka b'tava, don't lie in a damp, chilly place. He was sick, right? Ba'acher, another doctor came, Amar Lai, and said to him, Al teichal toine, don't eat cold food. Al tishka b'tachav, don't lie in a damp, chilly place. Shali tamus, so that you will not die. Keder shemeis plainim, as so and so died. And this is the second doctor roused him to follow his instructions. More than the first. That's why it says over here, after the death of the two sons of Aaron, and afterwards, what does it say? That Hashem said to Moshe to speak to Aaron, Achicha, and that Aaron should not come, that he should not, as his sons die. Because what are we going to learn over here? We're going to learn here about the laws of Yom Kippur now, right? Who's going to go into the Holy of Holies? It's going to be Aaron the Kohen. It's going to be the high priest Aaron, right? So Hashem is warning him, don't go in the way the others went in and didn't listen, right? And they died. Don't do the same thing, right? So it's giving.
They have to be invited in. They can't just go in by themselves.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
The mistake they made.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, without the invitation, right?
God's permission,
right? Yeah,
God's invitation.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, but it's not just about the invitation; it's about how you're going in and with what you're going in. Also, it's correct what you're saying, but yeah, yes. Good, excellent. Verse number 2. And Hashem said to Moshe, you see that first verse was all separate, and now God's speaking again to Moshe. Well, so what was just a continuation, seemingly? No, it's reinforcing, right? Exactly. That's what Rashi is saying. Exactly. It's a reinforcement. Don't do like the first ones did.
Right.
So he spoke, Moshe, Daber el Aaron, speak to Aaron, Achicha, your brother, and he should not come at any time, El HaKodesh, to the holies, the base of Pareches, from the sanctuary, Pareches, to be on the curtains. Pareches is curtains. El Pnei HaKaperes, to the face in the front of the cover, Ashel Aaron, that is on the ark, right, the Ark of the Covenant. And he will not die. Kiba anan, because in the cloud area ala kapayres, because in the kiba anan, because in the cloud area I will appear ala kapayres over the ark of the covenant. Okay. What does that mean? So Rashi into lo yamus. Right, you should. Yeah, don't come. You shouldn't die. She'im bo, because if you do come into the holy of holies when you're not allowed to, right? Humeis, you will die, right? Like his two sons. Shouldn't, as his sons passed away. And the second Rashi, he will not die be'im ba who makes, because if he does, then he will die. Ki ba'anan area, for in the cloud I appear. Ki ta'amidani nirasham, for I always appear there. Im amud anani, with the pillar of cloud. Well, if you should go to Shechinasi Sham, because I reveal my Shechina, my divine presence there. Yizar, you have to take care. Shelo yargil lavai, that you should not be accustomed to regularly come there. That's a simple meaning, right? Don't accustom yourself to regularly to come there in the Holy of Holies. When are you going to come? We're going to learn the next verse. Only when? Yom Kippur, exactly. But that would be the next verse, right? Right now, it's just saying don't accustom yourself to regularly come. That's a simple meaning. But the sages interpret it. Al Yavai, do not come, except for the cloud of incense that he will offer b'Yom Kippurim on the day of Yom Kippur. In other words, it's coming in connection with the next verse. The second explanation is connected to the third. This second verse is connected to the third verse, and we see, because look how this third verse begins. Bizois, with this. In other words, Yavai Aaron, with this Aaron should come. Right? There's an emphasis over here, right? With the this. What is the this? We'll see Rashi. Right? Ella Kodesh, he should come into the holies, but Par Ben Bakar, with a bull, a young bull, that's a Ben Bakar, right? Not son of a gun, but son of a bull. All right, a cow that's son of a bull, that's a young bull. The chatas for a sin offering, the ayala and a ram for an ascent offering. Let's see Rashi bizois. What does it mean bizois? It's interesting what Rashi says over gematria shaloi. What's the gematria, the numeric value of this? Arba meis veser, 410. Remez of Lebayis Rishon is an allusion to the first holy temple that stood for 410 years. In other words, with this you come. Where are you coming? Into the Holy of Holies. That Holy of Holies stood for 410 years, just like as the word bizois. Now, why that is the simple meaning? I don't get it. There's a sikh on the Rebbe that I don't remember, which we won't have time to go through today, because there's a lot to learn. But you follow my question, Leslie? Shimalei, you follow the question? Why is Rashi saying this? Rashi's coming to explain the simple meaning. Why is the numeric value of Bezois 410 the simple meaning of that word? Now, I understand that word is unusual to say with this. Like, with this means to say specifically with this. Obviously, when God is saying, come into the sanctuary with this, it means obviously with this and not with something else, right? So maybe that's because it doesn't seem to add anything. Okay, let's see. Next Rashi, with this Aaron shall come, and even this not at any time, except for Yom Kippur, as will be stated explicitly. Right now, do you know that it's Yom Kippur in the verse? No, it doesn't say Yom Kippur, right? It just says with this he should come. At the end of all of this, when we are going to learn at the end, it's going to say it's Yom Kippur. So Rashi says, with this, huh?
Supposed to be fasting.
Well, yeah. No more food for you. You're going to fast now until the next meal you eat.
Was that only after the temple was destroyed that we started fasting, or was
No.
that during the temple time
Also,
that they
yeah.
fasted as well?
Yeah, that's a verse in the Torah. There's a verse. You need some oischem. You need some misaf shesechem. You should afflict your soul. The affliction is not to eat, right? That's a verse in the Torah. We had it already. All right, and as so come on from Mishur, it's explicitly stated, but Sefer Parsha at the end of the Torah portion. What does it say there? The 7th month, the 10th day. What's that? Yom Kippur. Okay. Now he's going to tell him what he has to wear. What is usually a Kohen Gadol wear? 8 garments, right? With 8 garments usually. A regular Kohen wears 4. Guess what? Here he's going to only say 4 because he goes in white, right? Lily white, pure white, like angel white. Okay, Kseinis bad. So he's got to wear a Kseinis bad, which is a tunic made out of linen. Kodesh, that's holy. Yilbash, he should wear. Umichnes bad, and he should wear linen pants. Iu al besara, that should be on his flesh. Uba'avne bad, and with a belt, a sash, a gartel that's also made out of linen. Yachgor, he should girdle himself. He should wear. It'll be mitzvah bad, and with a hat that's also made from linen. Yitznoif, he should wear.
It has to be white. I don't see in the verse where it says it's
You're
white.
right, but it is.
Is
But
that
they
an
happen to be white.
interpretation?
They were white, right? They were white. Yeah. Here it doesn't say. That's true. That's true.
But we wear white.
Anyway, that's it's not here. That's a good question, but we have to look in Parshas Tzava where the clothing is enumerated there. Big Day Kodesh, it's holy clothing. Haim, they are berachas b'mayim, and he has to immerse himself in the mikvah as besara, his flesh, and then wear them. Right? Rashi in verse number 4. Sign is bad. So he has to wear a exinus, right, which is the tunic that we spoke about, right? Rashi says, She'ena mishamish lifnim, he does not serve in the Holy of Holies b'shmeina begadim, with 8 garments, Shu shimish bahem, in which he serves bachutz, in the outside of the Holy of Holies. Sheish behem zov, because there's gold in them. Right? Rashi is explaining why is it on the holiest day you would think that the Kohen Gadol would wear the most supreme garments, which is all of his 8 garments, but he's only wearing 4 of his garments. He's not wearing any gold. Everything is made out of linen and is simple white. Why? So why is he not wearing his gold garments? Because the prosecutor does not become the defense counsel. Ella. Barba, but in the 4 garments, they're like an ordinary kohen, the kulam, shell boots, and all are made out of linen. What does that mean? Do you understand what that means? Defense attorney doesn't become a prosecutor? Or the prosecutor doesn't become the defense attorney? What prosecuted against Aaron and against the Jewish people? What's the prosecution against the Jewish people? What's the standing prosecution against the Jewish people? Is the golden calf. Right. The sin of the golden calf, which Aaron participated in. He did it lishma. He did it not for a wrong reason. He did it for a good reason, but still he had a participation in it. So therefore, that is a prosecution against the Jewish people and on him on some level. And therefore, he's now coming to be a defense attorney for himself and the Jewish people. So guess what? Gold cannot, which served to be a prosecution against him and the Jewish people, cannot now be the defense attorney. So you can't come in that way because now he's going to be a defense attorney for all the Jewish people and for himself. So don't wear gold. That's the idea. Okay? What does it mean they're holy? It means that the clothing that he wears has to be property of the Beis Hamikdash. Now, if he doesn't come in with his own clothes, he has to take the clothing that was paid for by the temple, right? Just learned that. By the way, we just learned that in Rambam. We just learned that in Rambam in Hilchas Shkolim, in the laws of shekel.
By the community.
Well, in effect by the community, exactly. Because what is he doing? Representing the community, so the clothing comes from the community. Yitzna, he shall cover his head, should be under the Targumai, like Unkeles. Yaches bereshe. Yania bereshe, should place on his head. Kamoi betanach bigdoi. As she put her garment, and left it. Okay. Rachatz b'mayim. And he has to immerse himself in the mikvah, right? That day on Yom Kippur. Ta'on tefillah. He requires immersion. B'chol chalifoisav. And every time he changes his clothes, right? Because what do we say? Outside of the Holy of Holies, what does he wear? All 8.
Like white.
All no, outside the Holy of Holies, he wears all eight because that's what a Kohen Gadol wears. Only bezois yavayarin. Only with this, when he goes into the Holy of Holies, he wears only the 4 linen garments, right? He doesn't wear gold, but otherwise outside he does. So in between every change of clothing, from doing the service outside, which he does on Yom Kippur, and doing the service inside, he has to go to the mikvah. That's what Rashi's saying. Chamisha Pamim, which is 5 times. If he would change his clothes, right? From the surface of the inside, which he did only, meaning the Holy of Holies, which he did only with the 4 white garments, or linen white garments. To the surface that's on the outside, that's outside of the Holy of Holies, and he would change the big day zav from his gold garments, which he would serve outside of the Holy of Holies, the big day lavan. Oh, you see, Rashi says here, big day lavan, white linen, white. Actually, it even says only white, but it means white linen garments. That would be right. When big day lavan from the white garments, the big day zav, he would put on the gold garments. Every change of garments to tefillah, he would require an immersion, right, in the mikvah. And also the sanctification of the hands and feet. Mina kior, from the kior. Okay. Verse number 5. So what did we just say? That he is bringing there a young bull as a sin offering, right? And he's bringing a ram, right?
So how does he decide, or who decides that the bull is a sin offering, and the ram is an ascent offering?
Who decides? God decides. God
Huh?
said to do this. God decided.
Why specifically a bull versus a ram?
That's an excellent question, but there is, but it's not in our purview here, where we can't deal with that. We don't have the time. If we have time during the week,
Oh, Google it.
if we have time during the week, then we could do it. But right now we have to be
All right.
do Chumash and Rashi, because Rashi doesn't deal with that question,
Okay, it's okay.
right? But it's a good question. There's been Israel, and from the congregation of the children of Israel, Yikach, he should take Shnei Seirim, he should take 2 he-goats, Lechatis for a sin offering, but Ayal Echad Loila, and a ram for an ascent offering. So it's interesting, for himself, he has to take a bull, young bull, but for the Jewish people, he has to take 2 he-goats. The hikriv Aaron is parachates, and now he has to offer Aaron the parachates, asher loy, that's for him. And it will bring atonement for him and his household. What does his household mean? And we'll see what Rashi says, right? Rashi in number 6, as parachates shaloi, so he's bringing a sin offering of a bull, ha'omor l'mayla, which we said previously in verse number 3. Well, the Medcha Khan, and Torah comes to teach you, what is it coming to tell us? He has to bring from his own, and he has to purchase it with his own money. But not from public funds, because it says asher loy, that belongs to him. So it's not from public money, right? The public offering is from public money. And he will atone for himself his household. Mizvada alav means he confesses over his sins, and the sin of his household. Okay. Next, yeah. Now he takes for the public offerings, right? And he'll take then the 2 seirim, the 2 he-goats, and he'll stand them before God, Pesach Oyel Ma'id, by the entrance of the tent of meeting. Aaron, and then Aaron will place al shnei seirim on the 2 he-goats, Geiralois. It's going to make a lottery. Geir le'echad la'Hashem. One lottery is going to be to God. In other words, it's going to say to God, and one lottery, Lazazel, that's going to say Lazazel. Rashi in number 8, yeah? We're good so far? Amazing. Nasan And he will place lots, a lottery on the two he goats. One will stand to his right, one to his left. And he'll put his two hands in a box, a lottery box. Then he's going to draw a lot in his right hand. And he'll draw the other one in his left hand. And he will place the lots on the goats. And whatever is written, L'Shem, LaHashem, Hu LaHashem, that will be offered to God. There's a kosev lo'ei lazazel, and the one that's written lazazel, mishtalech lazel, will be sent out in the desert, what we call to Azazel, as we will see now about that. Rashi lazazel, what does that mean? Well, that's a new term. We don't have this term previously. Rashi explained, what does it mean? Hu har oz Vikosha. It means in a mountain that is austere and harsh. Tzuk Gavaya, with a high cliff. Shenemar Eretz Gezerah. It means a land that's cut off. Chatucha cut. What does it mean it's cut off? It's got a high cliff, so it has a sharp cut. Okay? V'ikri v'arain. It's a seer asher Allah v'ager la'Hashem also chata. And he will then offer arain, the seer, the he-goat, that came up upon it, that it is a lot to God, to Hashem, and he will make it into a sin offering. Rashi asar chatas, kishemaniach hagir Allah v'kira la'Hashem ha'emer la'Hashem chatas. So when he takes the lottery and he puts it on the he-goat, right? He has to then designate it by saying la'Hashem chatas. For Hashem, it's a sin offering. Right? And the he-goat, asher Allah that came upon it, hagero, the lot lazazel, that it is for lazazel, meaning going out in the desert to the mountain cliff. Yamid chai, it should stand alive, lifnei Hashem, before God, lechaper Allah, to bring atonement upon him, l'shaleach and to send it lazazel amidbara, to the desert, to Azazel. Rashi. In number 10, Yamid Chai, what does it mean to be stand alive? Obviously, that's superfluous to say that statement because the animal wasn't slaughtered yet, right? It wasn't slaughtered. So why is it saying to stand alive? So Rashi says, Yumad, it means the same thing as shall be made to stand alive. Through others. And others, goat shall be placed. Ketargumai, as Unklis explains it, translates it into Aramaic, Yitakim kad chai, shall be made to stand while alive. Ma Talmud Leimar, why does the Torah have to say this? I mean, obviously it's going to stand alive, right? Because it said, to send it to Azazel, and Yedea, don't I not know, I know through that he's being sent to its death, and for life, and others if the Azazel to send the Azazel to its death, or is it to survive after it was sent? That's why it says Yamid Chai. Aha. In other words, that it should be stood alive, and implying Amidasa Chai. The implication is that while it's standing there at that moment, it's alive. Until you'll send it away. Mikan, from here we understand that you're sending it to its death. To atone upon it, shizvada, right? L'chaper upon it, to bring upon. What does it mean? What does it mean to bring atonement upon it? You're not bringing atonement to the animal, right? So what does it mean on it that you're giving atonement? So Rashi explains that means that he has to confess over it. It says Allah that you confess upon it, as we will see later in verse 21, right? That will explain what that means here. Okay, 11. Now he's going to offer Aaron the bull that's a chatas. Now we're going back. The bull that's a sin offering is his, right? Asher loy, that is for him. The chiper badai, and he will bring an atonement for him, obad beisai, and for his household. The shachet is a par, and then he will slaughter the bull, a chatas, that's a sin offering, a share loy, that is for him. Rashi in 11. So what's Rashi bothered over here? He's bothered because we already said that it's going to bring atonement for him. Why is it saying it again? Right? If you look at if you look at verse number 5, verse number 6, it says that he brought Aaron the bull that is a sin offering, that is for him, that is his, and he will have atonement through it, right? And here it says again, it's repeating. Why is it repeating that he's going to have atonement? So Rashi explains. Vidushin, it's a second confession. Otherwise, he has to do the first confession, and now is the second time. Olav over himself, and other over his own sins, Va'al echav kahanim, and over his brothers, the kohanim.
Is maybe the first one for the community and the
No, because this one's only for him and the kohanim. So it's a second. One? This is the bull. We're talking now. We're going back to the bull.
Right.
We have right. There's he goats, right? But that's for him and for the kohanim, right? That Shein Kurim She'elech of Kohanim, and for his brothers the kohanim, right? Shein Kulam Kurim Beisay, because they are called household. Shenemar, as it says, Beis Aaron Baruch Hashem, the house of Aaron, bless Hashem. Where do we say that? In Hallel. Mikan, from here we learn, Shakahanim is kapim boy. Here we learn that not only did Aaron gain atonement from this bull offering, but all of the Kohanim did from this sin offering that Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, brought. The whole kaparasam, and their entire atonement, the entire atonement gained by the Kohanim through the sin offering of the Kohen Gadol, in the Ella al tumas mikdash kedoshim. So what are they gaining? What are they getting atonement for? What? For what sins? Because they said lashon hara. No. It's because maybe they came to the sanctuary impure, right? And they came into the holies being impure. How do we know that? Because later on the verse is going to tell us in verse 16, we're in verse 11, but in verse 16 we're going to learn over there, right, that it's going to be for the impurities of that you may have come and did divine service as a kohen, and you were impure, which you're not allowed to, right? So this is to atone for that. Interesting. Imagine Yom Kippur. That's what they're getting atonement for. Not for, ties in with what I spoke about yesterday, but we're not going to go there now. Wow. Wow. Okay. Number 12. Now he's doing another Avodah. This is outside of the Holy of Holies, right? Which actually bringing the bull was also outside of the Holy of Holies till now, right? It didn't say anything. All he did was slaughter it till now. That's all it spoke about, right? It didn't say anything else. But now we're moving away from this, and now we're going about bringing incense, right? So, Malakach Male Hamachta, and he takes a full hand, a gachale eish, a burning coals, me'ala mizbeach, from the altar. Which altar? The outer altar, milifnei Hashem, that's before God. Male chafna, and a full hand of keteris, of incense. Keteris samim. Finances, daka. That daka means finely crushed, right? The havim in beisam pa'arechos, and he brings it beyond the curtain. So then he has to take from the outside and he has to bring it inside, right? Rashi.
The burning coals now.
With incense.
Not
with incense.
Not the bull.
Not the bull.
That's what I said. Inside. Take your life in your hands.
No, the bull was slaughtered. We already spoke about it being slaughtered, right? Right. But now So he's taking from the outer
see it.
altar, the fire. Lifnei Hashem, that's before God. Mitzad Lifnei HaPesach, what does that mean? You're taking from the side of the altar that faces the entrance of the base of Mikdash Hutzad Maravi, which is the west side. Take it from there. Daka, finely ground. Ma'atam daka. Why does it say it's finely ground? Hello, kol is daki. Isn't all incense has to be finely ground? Otherwise, it won't be incense, right? Shneimar is as if shechata mimenu adaik. That it would finally find, right? We learned that already in the book of Exodus. Elas, why is Torah come to tell us that that has to be finest of the fine. In other words, Erev Yom Kippurim, on the eve of Yom Kippur, Hayam Machzira, it would be returned the machteshes to the mortar to be reground. Interesting.
In other words, it has to be extra fine.
Exactly. Like extra fine virgin oil, extra fine incense. Exactly.
Right.
It's got the fine hechsher.
I think you were probably named after.
After this, yeah. Okay, 13.
Flower, fine rabbi,
I thought it was named after me.
maybe.
No, is, and then he shall place the incense ala eish on the fire lifnei Hashem before God. V'chisei on and it will cover the clouds of the incense as akaperes over the ark of Asher ala edus, which is on the testimony v'layamus, and he will not die. Okay, what does it mean? Ala eish v'seicha machta, that it's on the pan. Where's the fire? So Rashi is explaining the fire. You might think that the fire was in his hands. Obviously not, right? You can't keep coals in your hand.
Pan.
Well, that's right. It didn't say anywhere pan. Rashi is adding that don't, right? Because the verse didn't say pan. Rashi is saying that that's what it means, though. Okay?
Have to have something to hold the fire.
Okay, but maybe it's a stick, maybe it's whatever.
Maybe they had a fire beside the altar.
Anyway, but the point is, Rashi's filling in the blank that's missing, right? That's all. Below Yamus, and if he does this accordingly, he won't die. But if he will not do it according to this prescribed way, then he will die.
Right.
How will he die? From the hands of heaven, right? It's not a court of law that will issue a death sentence, but he will die by the hands of heaven. Okay, 14. Which, by the way, that's the way we all die, ultimately. But it means it's not from a court of law. But it means earlier, you die earlier than you would have done because of this sin. Okay, 14. Then he has to take from the blood of the part. Now we're going back. It's interesting, and I don't have an answer. I just want to point out. Let's say you notice, Shemalev, you notice how like it's going back from different things, right? Is this the order and the way it's being done? Or, because before we spoke about slaughtering the bull. Now we're speaking about taking the blood of the bull. But in between, you took the incense.
Right.
So it sounds like you do that in between. That's the way it sounds. In the order of what he does.
The flour.
No, there's no flour.
Earlier, no?
No. That was the incense.
Oh, yeah.
That was incense. I made the joke of fine flour. Yeah.
Why is
I get, I get residuals from that. You know what the residuals are? You know what the residuals were?
Blessings.
No,
exactly.
You know what the residuals were?
Blessings.
Yeah, but you know what it was? I had a piece of fine flour earlier. You asked about. What you're eating? All right.
Where does Rashi? Where did he come up with the number of times he's got to rub his finger on?
We can do that.
Oh,
Well, let's do 14 now. Well,
Okay.
be current.
Number 14.
And then he has to take from the blood of the bull, and he has to he has to dash with his finger al pnei kaperes towards the kaperes, towards the cover. Kaperes is the cover of the Ark of the Covenant. Kedma, east. Okay. The lifnei kaperes, and before the kaperes, the covering. Yaze, he should. So it's a second time he's saying now to sprinkle, right? To dash. Sheva pamim, 7 times. Min adam, from the blood, that's by with his finger. Let's see Rashi. Okay, v'hiza beds by hazol achas b'mishpat. And it's 1. The implication is 1, right? Because it just says dash. It doesn't say how many times to dash, right? So the first dashing is 1 time. But then it says, and he has to dash 7 times. So it means, by the way, we say this on the Yom Kippur, the Avodah. Achas, achas v'achas, achas v'shtayim, achas v'shalosh. Remember this on Yom Kippur? Yeah, we say it many, many times, right? Because the Kohen Gadol is doing it several times, but here we got 1 instance. So what is it? It says he does 1, but then it says he does 7. 1 is Lamaila, is above. There's a line on the altar, and then 7 below. Okay?
Do he dash it upwards?
Dash means you just sprinkle like that with his finger.
Doesn't dash it like that, dash it like this,
Well,
or he just touches it? Doesn't say. For my
no, towards.
A dash,
It means
a dash means that it's a movement.
yeah, like this. Dash
No,
means
that's a
it's spring. It means like that.
that's
a dash.
That's a point.
I
A
know.
dash means going down. You know, dashes up, then he dashes down.
And
7 times.
yeah, okay. Let's
That's what I think.
okay, but
I don't
it's
think it matters anyway.
well, of course it matters. Everything matters. Otherwise, you die.
All right.
That's why you're not the Kohen Gadol.
The vote.
Okay.
15.
Now, one say, whoa, wait. You know what bothers me over here? You know what does it mean, the eastern side?
I don't know.
That would mean he has to go all the way to the other side of the Ark of the Covenant and face towards the east, right? To the entrance. Because that would be the only way it would be east.
No. Eastern side.
Oh, no, eastern side. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not towards, I made a mistake. It's not towards the east. It's from the east. From the eastern side. Yes, I made a mistake. Thank you. Yes. Because he says to finger towards the eastern. Yeah, okay. But that's what it means. Yes. Okay.
Take some of the bull's blood and dash it with his finger toward the eastern side of the ark.
No, from the eastern side of the ark.
It says toward the eastern.
I know, but
maybe that's the translation.
Yeah, no.
The English part of it says toward the eastern side.
Kedma.
What I don't know what word it is because you know what word it is? What word is that?
No.
Or from?
No, I don't think so. I will double check, but I don't think it can be that. No. 1 second.
Towards the eastern side.
What does it say in Hebrew?
You're reading from the same, so,
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but
Or it's saying defeat us. I'm not there.
That's it, it's the eastern side, so it's.
Does it say from the eastern side or does it say toward the eastern
Well, if
side?
it's towards the eastern side, it's.
No, it's a difference because if it's from the eastern side, it means that he's going from the eastern side to somewhere else.
No, but.
Whereas if it's toward the eastern
No.
side.
no, it's the eastern side.
Way.
Listen, it's the eastern side of the covering of the ark.
Yeah,
So it means he's standing on the east side because that's the one closest from the entrance. The entrance is the east.
Here, it means, as an example, it means that we would be doing it this way.
Here, actually. Here we go.
Where is he standing?
This is the east. He took right? He's coming in over here. This is
Yeah.
the east, that's the west.
Right.
So he's standing over here on the eastern side of the Ark of the Covenant. He's sprinkling. That's what it means.
All right.
Okay, good. We went through that. Get clarity. Okay, unfortunately, we have to stop here because we have Tanya now.
I gotta go.
And
That's a long one, that's it.
yeah, we've got more to do.
Keeps on going. Do it on your own.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
I would love to do this further because it's